The government is taking a unique approach to control the record-breaking population of wild horses. There are an estimated 88,000 of them across this country. The American icons are protected by a law passed by Congress back in 1971, but too many wild mustangs can lead to big problems like starving horses. Nikki Battiste, who knows how to ride a horse, she's an equestrian. Take a good look at her. Shows us a new effort to help them find a home. Nikki, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gayle. I am a horse lover. There are now 50,000 Mustangs and holding pens available for adoption, but the number of people taking one home has hit an all-time low in recent years. That's part of the reason the Bureau of Land Management is now offering to pay you $1,000 to adopt a wild horse. These two male Mustangs aren't horsing around.
It's that time of year.
Breeding season.
Breeding season.
They're locked in a battle over the females of the herd. We met Gus War of the Bureau of Land Management in Utah. He told us the rapid reproduction of wild horses is creating a crisis.
We're estimating there's 88,000 wild horses in America right now.
And how many can the land sustain?
27,000.
Galloping at up to 40 miles per hour in the mountains and plains of Utah, these Mustangs symbolize freedom.
Freedom has its consequences if they're not managed.
Those consequences can be overgrazed land and starving horses. That's why BLM rounds up thousands of horses each year. But the Humane Society and Wild Horse Campaign told CBS News the roundups can be dangerous, leaving some horses injured or dead.
No more roundups!
Or they might be adopted and illegally sold for slaughter. War says BLM spends $50 million of its $80 million budget on off-range holding costs for the Mustangs they gather.
We're almost approaching $2,000 to hold a horse for 1 year.
So BLM did some simple math. Rather than pay $2,000 to care for a Mustang for 1 year, they'll pay $1,000 to someone willing to adopt and care for a Mustang over its lifetime. Do you worry about people who say, hey, wait a second, I'm going to go get one of those Mustangs, take $1,000 and take it to a slaughterhouse?
You know,
or
if
abuse it.
You have to say you've got to be concerned about that.
So if an adopted horse after a year is abused and you hear about it, you can't take it back?
So if a horse is adopted and then it's titled and we hear about us having an abuse case, we immediately reach out to the local humane group.
We visited an adoption in Livingston, Texas.
$1,000 for a horse. What a good incentive.
Yes.
Where Rebecca Hirschman brought her 11-year-old granddaughter, Abby. You know, Mustangs don't let many people pet them.
This one's a special horse.
To qualify, adopters must have enough space for a horse and no history of animal abuse.
Is anybody else interested in the geldings in Pen 6?
Those approved get, well, a completely wild horse and $500 up front. The other $500 comes 1 year later.
It's beneficial, but it's not why we're here. I can see why they're doing it because it gives more people to take a chance on a wild horse.
Yeah.
Deborah Cash and Michael Gales are taking home their very first Mustang. What are you looking for?
I look at their eyes, see if they make contact with you.
Rebecca plans to spend her $1,000 payment on a trainer and horse supplies.
Let me get you your package together. Yes.
Our husbands can't get upset with us because we're actually bringing home money.
But when you see this kind of human-horse connection,
The horse picks
You're a
you.
good match for her.
the horse picks you. It doesn't really seem the money matters at all.
I just think it's about finding them a home. I just feel like I'm helping, you know.
The maximum number of wild horses you can be paid to take is 4. BLM says adoptions have gone up nearly 40% since the $1,000 incentive began in March. But the Humane Society and American Wild Horse Campaign say BLM needs to focus its budget on fertility control. And that was my first time seeing Mustangs in the flesh, and they are absolutely beautiful.
But in the meantime, those adoptions will go up more after looking at this piece, because you know you're helping someone, helping the horse. And they're such majestic creatures, which you know very well, Nikki Battiste.
Yes, I grew up riding, and
you were a nationally ranked equestrian.
I was. I did equestrian show jumping. My dad put me on a horse when I was 3. It was his dream to see Mustangs. I took him on the shoot with me.
Oh, that's so great.
Wonderful.
And more importantly, you rode a horse at your wedding. Is that right? Do I have that right?
I did. did because
There we are.
side saddle because my dress was so tight. But yes, they're very special.
I love that the horse is white too.
Not a wild horse though. Just
No, that's Dolly. We rented her because the horse I ride is far too wild to have a veil on its back.
I will say.
She's downplaying, guys, because she was ranked. She rode for 15 years, was ranked nationally number 2.
Number two.
What were you going to say, Tony?
My uncle actually adopted a wild Mustang, trained it, and it's a beautiful horse. Loves it.
They're wonderful.
There's an endorsement.
And the two people in our store, their Mustangs are doing really well.
Very good. Nikki, thank you.